James Morrison sat in the sterile waiting hall of the Galactic Integration Bureau, his fingers drumming against the worn armrest of his seat. The number 4721 glowed softly on the holographic ticket in his palm. Above the processing counters, the display read 4689, 42 years old, former Marine Corps engineer, and now just another human waiting to be classified in the vast bureaucracy of the Interstellar Consortium. What James didn't know was that Officer Emma Jacques had been watching him for the past 3 hours. Emma's compound eyes, hidden behind the standard-issue neural interface visor that translated her zero-T physiology into something more palatable for the diverse species passing through, tracked James's every movement. Her forearms moved with practiced efficiency across multiple data streams, but one consciousness thread remained locked on the human in Section 7B. She had flagged him the moment he entered, not because of anything he'd done, but because of what he represented: humanity, the species that had, in a mere 2 centuries since contact, turned every xenobiological assumption upside down. The Zero-T had been integrating species into the consortium for 18,000 years. They knew the patterns. They understood the mathematical certainties of biological development. A species' technological advancement correlated directly with their evolutionary timeline, their environmental pressures, their biological architecture. Humans broke every rule. Emma's secondary visual processors displayed James's file alongside her primary view. Born on Earth Sol System, served in a military organization before first contact, degree in applied physics and mechanical engineering, worked on something called offshore oil rigs in extreme pressure environments. The file noted multiple commendations for improvisation under crisis conditions. That phrase appeared in 67% of human integration files. It had no direct translation in any of the consortium's 1,247 member languages. Number 4,697, the automated system announced. James shifted in his seat. His eyes, those binocular forward-facing predator eyes, scanned the room with an alertness that Emma recognized. Not paranoia, situational awareness. The humans called it that. Every human she'd processed had it to some degree. They were always watching, always assessing, always preparing for threats that didn't exist in consortium space. Because in their space, those threats had been very real. Emma's academic training had covered Earth's history, a death world by consortium classification standards, 1.2 times standard gravity, atmospheric oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species over extended exposure, weather systems that generated energy outputs comparable to tactical nuclear devices, predators at every trophic level. And humans sat at the top of that nightmare hierarchy. Number 4703. Emma made her decision. She triggered a priority override and reassigned James's processing to her station. It was irregular, but well within her authority. Counter 7 illuminated with his number. 4721. James stood, his movements efficient despite the higher-than-Earth gravity of the station. Another human adaptation. They acclimated to new gravity wells in weeks, not the months or years other species required. He approached her counter, and Emma felt the familiar unease that came with directly interfacing with humans. They were so intense. Every interaction felt like it carried weight. James Morrison, she said, her translator rendering her clicking mandibles into standard galactic. I'm Officer Emma ZH. I'll be handling your integration classification, ma'am. James nodded, a human gesture of respect. He placed his biometric card on the scanner. Emma pulled up his neural profile. The scan results made her thorax tighten. Human brain architecture was absurd. Neuroplasticity off every chart. A prefrontal cortex that dedicated enormous processing power to abstract reasoning and long-term planning. But most striking was the amygdala hippocampus complex, the emotional memory center that, in humans, had evolved into something unprecedented. Humans didn't just remember trauma, they weaponized it. They learned from every failure, every near-death experience, and integrated it into their threat assessment matrices. Your engineering credentials are impressive, Emma said, reviewing the data. But I need to understand something. This incident on Platform Bravo 9, you were trapped in a flooding compartment for 6 hours. Alone, in darkness, with oxygen depleting. Your file says you jury-rigged a carbon dioxide scrubber from a fire extinguisher and a water filtration membrane. James's expression didn't change. Yes, ma'am. The regular scrubbers were offline. Had to work with what was available. You had no training for this scenario. No, ma'am. But the principles were the same. Just needed to adapt them. There it was. That word again. Adapt. Emma leaned back, her tertiary arms folding in a gesture of deep consideration. Mr. Morrison, I'm going to be direct with you. Do you know why I've been watching you? For the first time, James showed surprise. His pupils dilated slightly. Another readable human tell. No, Mum. Because in 18,000 years of integration, the Zerathi have developed very accurate models for species classification. We can predict with 94.7% accuracy what roles a species will fill in consortium society. She paused. Humans have a 12% accuracy rate. You are statistical impossibilities. James's mouth quirked slightly. We've heard that before, I'm sure you have. But here's what troubles me, Mr. Morrison. Your species shouldn't exist. Your planet is too hostile. Your evolutionary path is too aggressive. Your neurology is too adaptable. By every model we have, Earth should have produced either hyper-specialized organisms that couldn't leave their niche, or extinction-level competition that destroyed all higher-order intelligence. Instead, you produced generalists, tool users, problem solvers, a species that looks at every obstacle and asks, how do I overcome this, rather than should I attempt this at all? Emma's visor displayed data across James's field of view information. He couldn't see, but she could. Human expansion rates, innovation indices, cultural adaptation metrics, every graph trending in directions that made the consortium's xenobiologists nervous. I've been watching you, Mr. Morrison, because you're about to be classified for deep space engineering assignments, stations, ships, colonies on frontier worlds, and I need to know if you understand what you represent. James met her compound eyes steadily. Ma'am, with respect, I'm just an engineer. I fix things that are broken. I build things that need building. If that's useful to the consortium, then I'm happy to help. Emma felt something that might have been respect, or might have been fear. Perhaps both. That's exactly what concerns me, Mr. Morrison. 3 months ago, we had a critical failure on station Kepler 442. A Nexian engineering team said repairs would take 6 months. We sent a human team as a second opinion. She pulled up the report. They had it operational in 3 weeks using materials they found in the recycling depot. When the Dexians asked how they did it, the team leader said, "We've built working engines from tractor parts." This was easy. James smiled, a genuine expression. Sounds about right. Emma processed his classification, her decision already made. But she added a note to his file, one that would follow him throughout his consortium career. Subject displays typical human problem-solving pathology. Standard integration protocols insufficient. Recommend autonomous operational authority with minimal oversight. Attempting to constrain human innovation is counterproductive and potentially dangerous. Suggest classification. Emergency response specialist. Unlimited operational parameters. She looked at James one more time. Welcome to the consortium, Mr. Morrison. Try not to break too many of our assumptions. James took his classification chip, that small smile still on his face. No promises, ma'am. As he walked away, Emma returned her attention to the waiting hall. Number 4722 was about standard classification, predictable metrics. Safe. She would watch 17 more humans that day. Every single one would unsettle her in different ways. The consortium had survived 18,000 years by understanding the rules of biology, physics, and civilization. Humanity, Emma was learning, didn't break rules. They just refused to acknowledge they existed in the first place. And somehow, impossibly, it worked.